everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the latter. This is Zombi by Ubi Soft. This was, in fact, Ubisoft's first ever game when it first released in 1986 on the Amstrad CPC. The port we're looking at today, though, is from 1990, so they had a bit more experience between the original release of Zombie and this version. This is quite an interesting game to me because, yeah, it's an early piece of software from a company that is still going today, like them or hate them. And it was also, in fact, later reimagined as a game on more recent platforms. So if you ever played Zombie U on Wii U, that was an early Wii U game that was later ported to PS4, definitely, and possibly Xbox One as well, I forget. But yeah, if you ever played that, that is actually a reimagining of this game. It's not a straight port or anything. It's not the same, exactly the same concept, but it uses a lot of the same ideas, and it's a homage to it, I guess you'd call it. So this original game was based on Dawn of the Dead, so you'll see the connections there, they're pretty obvious. It's a first-person point-and-click action-adventure, which is quite an unusual blend of things, but early days Ubisoft was quite well known for blending genres together and doing all sorts of unusual things like that. So this was, this was pretty par for the course for them for the time. It was moderately well received by publications at the time. Again, as we mentioned last week, ST Format absolutely hated it because they seem to hate absolutely everything. But some other publications quite liked it. So it's an interesting attempt, or an interesting early attempt, I should say, to kind of ponder the idea of consequences in gaming. So one of the things that Zombie specifically mentions in its manual is the idea that things you do in the game may have an effect later on, but you don't necessarily know what they are. And there's also things that happen in the game regardless of the things you do. So it sort of simulates things like if you leave a character in a room with a corpse, their health will gradually decay because they're sort of breathing in the fumes of infected corpses and so on. So there's all sorts of interesting ideas like that in there. But does it play any good? Can we figure it out? Because as far as I know, this game is in French. So, well, good luck with that, I guess. Let's take a look.
Alright, I'm really not sure what to expect from this, because I've heard a bit about it in the past, but I don't know a huge amount about it. So, I've been very curious to try this, particularly as I quite enjoyed the Wii U game that I referred to. Never finished it or anything, but I did quite enjoy it. It's also got a really good multiplayer mode if you ever have the opportunity to try it. It makes very nice use of the gamepad. Okay, so from what I understand, the way this game works is you've got these four characters at the top here, and you can switch between them by clicking on them. And they each have their own statistics over here. I'm not offhand entirely sure what each of those stats means. I'm guessing fatigue, health, something else? Stamina maybe? I don't know. Alright, they've got an item. What is that? I don't know. Well. Alright, well. Let's start with Alexandre. And what you do is you move around by clicking these icons on the outside of the graphic frame. And it will go ping if you can't go that direction. So here we are, upstairs in the shopping mall. Because, oh yes, this unfolds in a shopping mall. And then your aim in this is you're trying to find some fuel. Okay, so here's the zombie. You can just sneak past them in a lot of cases. But if you hang around for too long, you'll get into a fight with them. Alright, let's go look in the sports shop. So, I believe you can click on things to interact with them in a lot of cases. Right, I picked something up. I'm not sure what. What is that? Looks like some sort of rope, maybe? No idea. Like, some actual text would be helpful. So we can't go any further that way. I don't think there's anything else we can pick up in there, so let's go back outside. Ignore the zombie for the minute and just head forwards. Now we can open that. And that looks like some fuel to me. Oh, we have to fight now. So you fight just by clicking on the parts of the zombie until they die, basically. And when you start, you're fighting in hand-to-hand combat, but you can get weapons as you progress through the game. Okay, so can I use this on the helicopter? Oh, I can look in the helicopter. That's interesting. What does that do? Okay, so do we use that here? No? Do we use this on here? I don't know. Trouble is, this is from an era of games where things tended not to be made terribly explicit. And so yeah, it's great that we have all this icon-driven interface and so on, but if it's not entirely clear how you do things, it can make for a slightly frustrating experience. Like, we get no feedback on whether or not these items can be used in these different places, for example. Okay, well, can we drop an item here? Can we just put that down? No. Okay. Alright, well, I guess we're going to need that, but we need some means of getting it into the helicopter, maybe. So let's explore a little bit more. I am carrying a zombie corpse with me at the minute. Now, supposedly you can actually drop them off in the basement. And that prevents you from getting infected and taking additional damage from them. So why can't I pick that up? Am I carrying too much? Let's switch to another character and see if he can go and pick that hose up. So that was down on the first floor. And in here. So... yes, okay, so there's clearly an inventory limit as well. Or maybe certain characters can pick stuff up and others can't. Right, so can we use that hose on the helicopter? I guess the one upside of this game being entirely icon-based and not giving us any text feedback is the fact that it's French. Doesn't matter. No, so that doesn't work. So that looks like where the fuel should go. It just doesn't seem to do anything though. So we can't just use that on the helicopter. Okay, well, let's switch back to Chappie here and explore a bit more. Let's look in the hi-fi shop. Not terribly helpful. Okay. So it feels like the sort of obtuse nature of this game is deliberate to a certain extent. And so if you read the actual original manual for this game, it doesn't really tell you very much at all. There's a hilariously badly drawn cartoon strip in there that sort of sets the scene for what's going on, but the actual instructions for how to play the game are very, very vague and very hard to decipher. So we can open that door and close it, but we don't seem to be able to actually do anything with it. Oh well, let's move on. Okay, so we're out on the road. What's that? Nothing is what that is. Oh, no. Okay, so don't go that way. Now, one interesting thing about this game that is one of the things they actually carried across into Zombie U is that when a character dies, after a period of time, they will come back as a zombie. Let's have a look at that map. Can we do anything with that? No. And so if we go back to that place where they died to that horde of zombies, presumably we can pick up their stuff. But also if we leave it too long... No? Okay, apparently we can't go retrieve their stuff. Alright. Well, it's not going brilliantly, I won't lie. Let's have... Well, let's look around the rest of that bottom floor. Okay, so you can sleep in that bed. And then what? Get up? Okay, so he has to sleep for a particular amount of time then, I guess. See, this is all stuff it doesn't tell you in the manual. All the manual tells you is that this is save game, this is quit game, this is load game, and this is use. Even though I'm yet to get that icon to actually do anything. Alright, that's the elevator. So we'll ignore that for a minute. Let's have a look this way. Oh, no, horde of zombies. And, given that our friend here is asleep, I think that might be it. Well then. Okay, this is a potentially interesting game. I just find that how obtuse it is just makes it a little bit difficult to enjoy. I mean, the idea is there. The idea is really solid. I like the idea of a zombie survival game in which you have to sort of scavenge equipment and figure out how to use it and all that sort of thing. It just doesn't give you anywhere near enough feedback to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, whether what you're trying is effective, and all that sort of thing. So I think this may well be worth trying if you've got a guide to hand, if indeed anyone has actually written a guide on this game, which I did have a brief look around before I started playing and didn't really find a whole lot of information. Or if there's a video playthrough of someone who knows what they're doing a bit more than I do, it might be worth having a look at. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting historical curiosity because it's, like I say, it's Ubisoft's first game, or at least it was in its original Amstrad CPC incarnation. Just playing it blind though, even playing it having had a look at the manual though, it's just a little bit too indecipherable to kind of make sense of and to enjoy. But I may well have another look at this and return to it at some point because I like the idea of it. I like the concept of it. I like the idea of a first-person action adventure from the 16-bit era, or the 8-bit era if we're being technical about it. I'm just not quite sure that they'd figured out what they wanted to do with it, exactly how they wanted to implement these things. So there we are. That is Zombi by Ubi Soft. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Back to A. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue a small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.